Huh? Oh. Hey, Dex, didn't hear you come in. What do you mean, what am I doing? What does it look like I'm doing? I'm playing Super Meat Boy. Well, because in case you didn't know, there was a big storm, and so we had a giant power out. So now I'm trying to, you know, get caught up on all the games that I haven't been able to play in a while. You know, before I have to work on other stuff like the LP. I'll get to it on the weekend, probably. Yeah, you know, when I have time to do, you know, stuff that isn't so important. You know, I usually save the time, like right now, for doing really important stuff. Like playing this, you know. Well, yeah, like I said, I'll get to playing the rest of Q Bert over the weekend. You know, it's been, what, a week or two? I don't think I missed much. Wait, what was that? What do you mean it's... Ugh. What do you mean it's already the weekend? I mean, last I checked, it was only... Whoa! Yeah, see, I'm working on this thing, yeah, see, already got most of it edited down, right? I'm not gonna be able to talk myself out of this one, am I? So I finally got around to looking up footage from the PlayStation version of this game, and I gotta say, it looks quite a bit different from the Dreamcast version. If you want to see it in full, check out link B in the description. The intro seems a bit higher in quality for whatever reason, and the sound design is almost entirely different. For the worse, but still entirely different. The level select screen suggests, as does the intro, that Q Bert has actually entered Coily's void himself. Something that looks really cool, but I personally enjoy the quick and easy access to the Dreamcast rebuild. Classic mode is where it gets interesting though. Apparently, the PS1 version offers two different options for Classic, both 2D and 3D. You know, because 3D was something special they just had to throw in our face wherever they could. Reminds me of a certain industry, what was it called? The movie, the film, one of those. Anyway, 2D mode is a one-to-one port of the original arcade game, and 3D mode actually looks a bit better than the Dreamcast version of Classic. Weird. Better backgrounds, more sound effects, and motion sickness. See, that's overdoing it. 3D is fine, but if you go to that extreme, it doesn't look good anymore. It's just annoying. All or nothing is a horrible strategy for game design. This is a case where I'm glad the Dreamcast version toned things down a bit, though I'm not exactly sure why they took out the option for arcade graphics. Not exactly a huge loss, but still. Now I've been talking now for more than a page of this totally not scripted intro, so I'll wrap this up quick. Besides minor differences and odd design choices, the games are relatively similar. In fact, I'm pretty sure the adventure modes are identical. I can't be sure though, since there are only videos from the first world of the PS1 version. YouTube, you failed me again! Which brings us to the adventure mode. Eventually I'm gonna do head-to-head, but I'll save that for when I can actually find a second controller. In the meantime, adventure mode opens up with a particular world following the Q World Wizard, because every world has to have one of those, right? This guy goes by the name of Zila, or Z-La. I don't really know how to pronounce an exclamation point. Stand by! Okay, so Zila. Can I just call him Zila? I'm tired of trying to pronounce that properly. Anyway, Zila here is the Q World Wizard, and so in his dimension, which we're exploring right now, we need to follow him, because being a wizard, he happens to have some useful power-ups for us. Please don't ask how that works, I have no idea. But as you can see, he left us a shield. The shield is known as invulnerability. And, yeah, of all the things for me to start off talking about adventure mode with. Adventure mode's gimmick is that every single level follows a very different take on the old Q Bert formula. So now, instead of, you know, trekking across a 3D isometric pyramid, now we're actually in actual 3D world kind of areas. And it looks really nice, honestly. And instead of enemies only spawning from the top of the pyramid, now we've got them spawning from the places with the swirlies on them. And that's pretty much a constant throughout the series, although everything else is going to change in the later videos, which means the later levels, I would hope. Enemies will always spawn from the places with the giant swirlies on them, as you'll see. But anyway, those blocks I'm hopping on there, they give you 100 points every time you step on them, and they fall after a short amount of time, which means you've got just enough time to hop on it, each one, 3 times, and get yourself 300 points. I also want to commend Adventure Mode for having really smooth animations, because, you know, it looks a lot cleaner than the Classic Mode, but I think they sort of did that on purpose. If Classic Mode controlled like Adventure Mode did, oh boy, I'd get a lot farther than I do. Because this is actually a bit easier, because the hitboxes are a little bit better programmed and other such things, because it's not a one-to-one port of an arcade game, pretty much. Also, this is the first time we're seeing Coily here. He doesn't show up in every level, but when he does, he's far more present, I guess you could say, because of that really, really low, almost burping noise that he makes whenever he hops around. That, yeah. And I guess part of the reason why they decided to make him more of a presence then is because, really, the Adventure Mode follows a storyline about Q Bert's world being taken over. And why did that— oh, wow. More on that in a second. This is a bonus stage. Yeah. Sometimes in each level, you'll come across these points where the stage you enter, you have to enter it through awkward or, you know, unique means, and it's not necessarily, you know, required to complete the stage. In this case, it's certainly not. If I didn't hop on that Q disc, I wouldn't have to be, you know, trekking around this red pyramid, or not pyramid, world of Q, I don't know what to call it. In the meantime, though, this is also the only other level with Coily in it, so that's something else, I guess. And, yeah, that was easy. Now, the teleporter is going to send you back to what was a yellow level before. So, if you didn't complete this stage and hopped into the Q disc before that, then you would probably, if I'm not mistaken, be sent back to the level half completed. Yeah. Anyway, here we are again. Now, you'll notice that Zila is leaving us power-ups in random places. Of course, it has to always be inconvenient, the jerk. But, pretty much, if you can follow Zila, and how to follow him is different in every level, but I'll try to cover as best I can. If you can follow Zila in every level, then you'll be able to get power-ups in almost every stage, because following him pretty much leads him to drop these items as he's running away. And yes, you can't walk on the 2s or the 3s. So back to what I was saying. We're about to end the level. I said we're about to end the level. There we go. And pretty much, Zila, his gimmick is that he leaves you power-ups, which means that they actually take liberties to make the stages a bit harder, which is weird considering it's your first world. But, whatever. Personally, I find him to be the best set of worlds, if only just because it's the only ones I ever played to death when I was a kid, because I could never make it past the second world. Not because it's necessarily hard, just because, well, we'll get there when we get there. In the meantime, in this particular level, we're going to be following Zila through different means. As you can see there over on the end, one of the spaces is purple. That's where the teleporter is going to appear, to teleport us back to the hub thing. And so, the teleporter is, instead of being a, actual, like, you know, leading us back to the hub where we see Zila walking again, we're just going to have to follow the colors that you can see near the teleporter. So in this case, for example, it's lavender. So when we hop in the teleporter, the next stage we're going to go is lavender. Yeah, just kind of a neat chase thing idea. And now the next one's going to be orange, etc. Anyway, this stage also introduces new enemies. In this case, these random nameless octopus things. No, seriously, they didn't bother giving any of the new enemies names, and for good reason. They all behave exactly the same. Anyway, these octopi things, yeah, they hop around, and they don't obey gravity the way that the red balls do. I mean, it's not something that you would even notice normally, but the red balls would always fall downward, right? And in this case, these octopi things can hop in any direction, so they're a lot harder to predict, and therefore a lot harder to avoid. Of course, they also follow a set pattern most of the time, so they still are kind of easy to follow, honestly. Ow. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm gonna have to complain about, is just because of the nature of Q Bert, having a fixed camera for most of these stages means that, as much as I enjoy the fact that, you know, they set up the camera in a way so that you'd be able to see everything, at the same time, sometimes perspective is, sent out the window, you might say, and I really can't follow where I'm going half the time, and I end up jumping off the edge because of it. We enter pink now, and we're almost done. By the way, this level's gimmick is bubbles. By gimmick, I mean background gimmick, because the level itself doesn't... Why didn't you leave me a power-up, Zila, you jerk? Better make up for it later. Anyway, so yeah, in this case, you can definitely see that all these blocks are connected and that you don't have to worry about falling off the edge except in the very center. Well, in other levels it's not that clear because they decided to go really crazy with the level setup, ow, because, you know, it's 3D. We need to show off that it's 3D, and we need to give everyone motion sickness by zooming in on Q Bert's face every time you get hit. Honestly, it's not nearly as bad here as it was in the classic version of the PS1 version. That's just a headache, honestly. So he gave us two power-ups this time, an invulnerability and a baseball bat. I should feel honored, I suppose. Also, this is the first time we've seen Coily this stage. Weird. So this baseball bat is known as the Whack Coily, and it does that. Zila apparently has a frisbee of his own at this point, and he flies in, and yeah, I guess in that case it'd be called the Z-disc, right? But anyway, he flies in and shoots Coily, and then Coily will just sort of explode. The problem with this is that the gimmick of, you know, killing Coily in general, forcing him to jump off the edge, right? The whole joyous gimmick of that is that all enemies on screen will disappear whenever Coily jumps off the edge. However, whenever Zila whacks Coily with the Whack Coily baseball bat power-up, it sounded rather silly, all the enemies stay there. So it doesn't seem, I don't want to say it doesn't seem fair, because it's totally fair, that if you run out of Q-discs, then, you know, of course you'll be grateful for just losing Coily on your tail. But at the same time, I almost feel like the stage itself is kind of, you know, designed so that, you know, if Zila were to get in your way that much, because it does get visually impending after a while, then, yeah, it doesn't really seem very practical in my mind. But whatever. Still can't walk on the twos, Austin. Gotta keep going. Anyway, in this particular stage, the hub place, before we actually get set out on our adventure, has these platforms, the colored platforms, will cause Zila to create the teleporter for the opposing platform, or something to that effect, yeah. Now, interestingly enough, if one of the portals is forming and you walk on another one, then you won't be able to cause the next one to appear, and you'd have to step off and step on again. You'll see that a lot in Stage 4, because that's something I always end up rushing, I guess you could say. But anyway. And I guess this was supposed to be almost like a gimmicky joke stage setup, considering that it's the upside-down pyramid. But, ow. As you can see here, we got another power-up. This time, it looks like a chicken wing of some sorts. But it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be Q Bert's foot with wings coming out of it. And it's a power-up that increases your speed. Yeah. In fact, it's just called Speed! In the manual, anyway. Also, I suppose I should say this. You can tell where to go next because Zila is standing on whatever color you should enter. Not quite as creative as the second level, but I'll take what I can get. There's speed in action, which is making you go really fast. The problem with speed is that although you get to go really fast for a short amount of time, I swear it always makes me fall off the edge. Not always, of course, but sometimes. And that can get rather annoying. The perspective, it's just awkward. At times, anyway. And there's Sam in action. Undoing our hard work. Ow. And that is why I love Q Bert. It's a big multitasking thing right there, with the getting hit and the not getting hit and blah. But anyway, back to teleportation. Now, since we didn't totally fill in the hub world, these octopus things with 3 legs and top hats are showing up a lot more. And I believe it goes up to 3 octopus things, unless you complete the stage, in which case they all disappear. And ooh, was that a pink square in the center I saw there? This warrants further investigation. This is your singing YouTube vid, I hope the link worked well. You're invited here on Sunday, cause I find you rather swell. I am turning 10 plus 8, so help me be real vain. The cake will be delicious, the festivities insane. Lots of gaming, lots of dancing, watching up and Wreck-It Ralph. But I might get so excited that I will be mouth to mouth. No need to bring a gift, to see you here will be enough. Birthdays mean showing off to friends, not getting tons of stuff. I can't see this day without you, and I hope you think so too. So please, oh please get back to me and let me welcome you. Well, anyway, Zila's not being very creative this time. Every level, he's leaving us a speed. I mean, I like the idea because it's one of the power-ups that isn't just, oh, you become invincible for a while. And it actually sort of makes sense in context and whatnot, but still, it's just kind of there. I'm not gonna say that was intentional, but welcome to a bonus stage. Unlike the extra stages, this just sort of... You just hop on the squares and they fall behind you, which is kind of neat, I guess. And, yeah, you can technically stand on each one as long as you want, but I personally like rushing to make it almost seem like a sort of Indiana Jones mentality moment. You get 10 points for every square you jump on, and at the very end of all that, you didn't really do anything. You just kind of got more points, I guess you could say. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say it's the most creative bonus stages, but I like figuring out the puzzle of trying to get all but one space disappeared. Yeah, there we go. And now onto the final stage of the Triangle Land. Triangle. And this marks the introduction of the 3D Ugg and Wrong Way. Yay! I think. Anyway, this stage is, you know, it's not technically a pyramid, but it is very closely based off of the original. Only there are no red balls, and there is no slick, and there is no sand. But that's okay. In fact, oddly enough, I'm pretty sure the only really faithful to the original world is this one. After this, they get really, really creative, like with the alternate character dimensions and stuff, as to how to present the Q Bert idea. But we'll get there in time. For now, join us in part 3, I believe we're up to now, of Q Bert, the Dreamcast port.
And that, friends, is how you destroy your Dreamcast with a hairdryer.